This is Connect Wednesdays, episode 99. And tonight we have officially entered a new era. The White House just confirmed the United States government is accumulating Bitcoin. President Trump just issued an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve, yes, a national reserve on Bitcoin, while simultaneously pushing the passage of the Genius Act to cement America as the undisputed leader and the champ in digital assets. At the same time, you had Jerome Powell, one of the most powerful guys in the world right now. He just gave US banks the green light to freely conduct crypto transactions, ending the Fed's previous reputational risk restrictions that were placed. And just when you thought it couldn't get any bigger, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, or the FHFA, has issued a brand new directive that allows Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to count cryptocurrency as an asset in mortgage risk assessments without converting into US dollars. That is insane. That is a first. Crypto is no longer on the sidelines. It's now US economic policy, and it's happening now. It's happening fast. All right. So I'm excited. I'm going to break this all down for you. Let's get it. Let's get right into it. So first things first, we got the United States government Bitcoin accumulation plan. I want to share my screen with y'all. I'm gonna play something for y'all so y'all can kind of see. This is fresh off the press, so it may not be spread all over the place. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what it's looking like. All right. All right. So move this out the way. Steve, Chris, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. All right, my God, greatly appreciate you. All right. All right, so what you're about to see, this is one of the White House staff members basically talking about what they're about to do.
Those are top of mind for everybody, working on digital assets in the White House. There will be the forthcoming report on the interagency activities. We've already taken some steps with the SBR. How do we follow that up with the, accumulation plan? So there's no shortage of opportunities and things to do. So after we leave here, I'll get right back to it. Those
Short and sweet, straight to the point. All right. Stop sharing the screen. So you heard it directly. He just mentioned that they are actively participating in accumulations for the US government, and this is for Bitcoin right now. Don't forget, Trump signed an executive order, but I'll get into that in 1 second. So this is no longer rumor. This was no longer speculation. I covered this many connects ago. I told everybody that this is the play. This is exactly what they were doing. So if this is your first time joining us on Connect Wednesdays, don't worry. You got some catching up to do, but I'll bring you guys up to speed, in due season. All right. So on March 6th this year, Trump signed an executive order. It was titled Establishment of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and United States Digital Asset Stockpile. So for the first time in American history, Bitcoin is no longer treated as a speculative experiment. They're now structuring things around it, products around it, services around it as a sovereign reserve asset that's actually held by the United States government. So we're going to unpack this. All right. So this executive order basically mandated the creation of two things. It's the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. This is basically a federally recognized store of Bitcoin. This is funded entirely by confiscated means, basically civil and criminal forfeitures. So basically, criminals, people who were deemed criminals, whether they were hackers, whether it was through dark net investigations, fraud cases, other criminal activity, things like that, if they were getting incarcerated, right, and they were being indicted, these people had illicit funds through cryptocurrency. The government, whether it be the IRS, the Treasury, CIA, whoever, what they would do is they would basically take that crypto away from the criminals and they were holding it. It basically created the runway for the United States digital asset stockpile. Now, this is a reserve that houses all Bitcoin and all non-Bitcoin, which are quote unquote altcoins, right? That was seized by federal agencies over the last decade. So we're talking Ethereum, Tether, USDC, DAI. We're talking Binance Coin, BNB, Solana, XRP, uh, Cardano, Litecoin, Chainlink, Dogecoin, Monero, which was also known for its privacy use cases. So a lot of that was seized, Polygon, Avalanche, etc. So all of these assets, they once sat idle in agency vaults. Now they're going to be consolidated under the Department of the Treasury. And this is a formal move that has the United States setting up their digital asset balance sheet. So this is huge. This means that any crypto that was confiscated, it's now in the government's hands. It's now under the I guess the lock and key of the Treasury. Now, I'm going to tell you guys who this impacts. This doesn't just affect us, the retail investors, the crypto investors. This affects everybody because by recognizing Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, the US has officially framed it, placing it on par with gold, oil, and other sovereign assets. This sends a shockwave across international finance, central banks, asset managers, and basically all political circles worldwide. This basically is telling the world that Bitcoin is no longer just a trade, it's a geopolitical tool, and they're using it. All right. So now things are about to get really official. If anybody had any inkling of a feeling that crypto wasn't going to do what it's supposed to do, what it was created to do, you're sadly mistaken. And I'm going to walk it down. All right. So now I'm going to tell you guys why this actually matters. So this policy is going to unlock new doors. This is going to allow the US to basically use Bitcoin as part of its monetary and debt strategy. We're already seeing that. There's talks and there's speculation that this could actually be used to pay down the debt that the United States has, right? And then you see other nations, other governments and countries all around the world, they're doing the exact same thing. They're adopting Bitcoin, they're adopting cryptocurrencies, and they're utilizing them as reserve assets, right? And then they're also now starting to do it with XRP as well. All right. So it's not just here in the United States. Always remember, crypto is a global phenomenon. It is a new emerging market, but now the doors are about to be open to everyone across the board, and we're going to have formally a level playing field. All right. Now, also, what this does is this gives Washington a new way to hedge against de-dollarization. For those of you who do not know, de-dollarization is basically what the rest of the world is doing. You have BRICS and BRICS plus nations. Everybody is thinking about moving away from utilizing the United States dollar as a global reserve currency. They want to use their own currencies, and many countries have agreed that they're going to step away from the use of the United States dollar. Now, with the United States moving at the speed and the aggression that it is now when it comes to digital assets, now we're actually start to set the table. And what this does is it forces all other countries and all other nations to make a decision. They either adopt Bitcoin and digital assets and cryptocurrencies, right? Or essentially get left behind. The Bitcoin reserve will not be sold. That is one of the great things that I do want to highlight. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I don't like Bitcoin, the coin itself. That's my personal take. I have my reasons, right? And if you've been with us long enough, you kind of know why. Basically, with them holding Bitcoin as a long-term strategic hold, this is like how they do with gold at Fort Knox. This is huge because the reserve currently holds around 200,000 Bitcoin right now. So roughly that's about $20 billion, right? Roughly. And then there's also some proposals that's floating around in policy circles right now that suggest they're thinking about acquiring up to 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years, right? So that would equal 5% of Bitcoin's total supply. That's huge. And that's strategic. The reason being is because if you hold an asset and the asset continues to perform as it's previously done, that's not always a great indicator. But if it continues to do what it's supposed to do, it eliminates the sell pressure. And with this much Bitcoin held in a reserve, basically they can maintain the value of it. I honestly don't think it's valued at what it's priced at right now. What is it? I think 105,000 or 108,000, something like that right now. I don't think it's worth that. But listen, I knew that cryptocurrency was going to move to great heights, and I knew it was going to change traditional finance forever. So this is right on course. All right. Now, I want to tell you guys how it's actually going to be funded. This is the most important part. So, with this accumulation strategy, none of it's going to be paid for with United States taxpayer dollars. So, if you pay taxes, this is not coming out of your money by any means. This means that explicitly all acquisitions are going to be budget neutral. This means the government will fund any future crypto accumulation through existing asset seizures. So anytime they do more seizures on illicit activities or criminals, things like that, that's where that extra Bitcoin or extra cryptocurrencies are going to come from, right? You got treasury remittances, reallocation of gold certificate balances, and then you're going to have the Federal Reserve surplus accounts. So this means no new taxes, no new debt, no congressional budget requests, none of that. This is a shift in how governments treat asset classes, and they're now reallocating traditional wealth stores into digital native stores of value. So I'm going to tell you guys now what happens next. Under the order, all federal agencies had 30 days to report the crypto holdings and then transfer the custody directly over to the Treasury. Then the Treasury Secretary was given 60 days to issue a report on basically the legal framework for holding digital assets, the risk assessments for everything, investment strategy, legislative recommendations to Congress. And right now, June 25th, we are at the 90-day mark. So what's coming next will likely define how aggressively or how much more aggressively the US will scale its holdings, or whether this first reserve becomes basically a foundation for broader digital financial infrastructure. So we're talking stablecoin rails, tokenized treasuries, or blockchain-based settlement systems, which we already have, right? So this is not just about holding Bitcoin. This is about monetizing conviction and weaponizing digital trust. Bitcoin has now been reclassified. It's not a hobby. It's not a hedge. Again, it's not one of my personal favorites, but it is what it is. It's a strategic asset now for the United States government. And if that doesn't change the game for every single investor, nation, institution, central bank, etc., that's watching from the sidelines, I don't know what will. Because right now, this should show you that the rest of the world is formally waking up. All right, so I'm not gonna slow this train down. I want to play something else for y'all. And this is important. All right, so this is from my guy Jerome Powell. All right. Bear with me. All right, can y'all see this? All right, cool, cool. All right, I don't know what the delay was, but this right here, this is the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. If you don't know who this is, just make a mental note. He's one of the most powerful guys when it comes to financial policy, period. Understand who he is, what he does. But this is him basically making a powerful statement. And I'll give you guys context in a second.
That banks get to decide who their customers are. That's not our decision. And so banks are free to provide banking services to the crypto industry, to crypto companies. And banks are also free to conduct crypto activities as long as they do so in a way that is, protective of safety and soundness. That banks get to decide who their customers are. That's not our decision. And so banks are free to provide banking services to the crypto industry, to crypto companies. And banks are also free to conduct crypto activities as long as they do so in a way that is, protective of safety and soundness. That banks get to decide who their customers are. That's not our decision. And so banks are free to provide banking services to the crypto industry, to crypto companies. And banks are also free to conduct crypto activities as long as they do so in a way that is, protective of safety and soundness.
I had to remix that for you. I had to double that up so y'all understand what was going on. Now, again, Jerome Powell giving that information to the rest of the world is huge. The reason being, you have to understand one, what he controls. This guy is the voice of financial policy. So when you have this type of power, when you are in this position and you're watched this closely, you have to understand what you say matters. Now, not only did he say that, you know he didn't just come out and blindly say that without having some sort of receipt, some sort of framework, or some sort of policy that was just implemented. So that clip was the headline. Jerome Powell officially just lifted the gate. He lifted the veil and said, listen, all banks officially, you can now operate however you deem necessary in crypto, in blockchain, in digital assets. That's not like him just chatting. That's an official removal of the reputational risk framework. And I want you to remember that reputational risk framework. That was a policy that basically it quietly discouraged banks from touching crypto under the threat of regulatory backlash. That was the leash. It was an invisible chain. And now it's broken. It's snapped. If you've ever heard of Choke Point 2.0, where the banks and the crypto exchanges were stopping people's transactions from flowing and going through, this was why. All right. Now it's official. Banks in the US no longer are bound by these vague guidelines that penalize them for engaging with cryptocurrency under the pretense of reputational damage, right? That policy was introduced back in 2022, and it never was about risk, truth be told. It was always, and I mean always, I can't stress this enough, about control. It gave regulators a reason to intimidate banks into staying out of this digital asset space. But now, Jerome Powell grabbed the grenade, he pulled the pin, and just dismantled all of it in one announcement. So I'm going to tell you guys exactly what this means. This means that US banks can now process crypto transactions without second guessing compliance fears. It also gave financial institutions now the ability to offer custody services. This is where banks or other financial institutions will be able to hold your cryptocurrency for you. There's going to be people who just maybe they're too old, maybe they're not savvy, they don't want to self-custody. I don't know why, but in their own right, they want to choose to have the bank or somebody else hold their cryptocurrency for them. Now, this is going to allow financial institutions to do so. It's also going to allow them to launch blockchain integrations. So now these blockchains can literally, they're going to be a puzzle piece. Just like how APIs are, this is what's about to happen. This is why this move is so massive, it's so huge. And this is going to allow them to build crypto-based financial products with full policy support. Now, the crypto industry right now is no longer under the shadow of TradFi. TradFi, aka traditional finance. All right. It's officially the moment that Wall Street and myself has been waiting for so many years. So now you got banks like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. They've been quietly building behind the scenes. Now they all got the green light. This move is going to unleash three key forces. It's going to be a liquidity surge, basically, which means institutional money can now enter this space at scale. So we're not talking about millions. So in a I guess an everyday person standpoint, when you think about big money that comes in, big money to you, let's say Wayne, I'm gonna use Wayne for an example. It might be $1 million. Now to Dante, a big bag might be 100 million, right? But now to Carl, somebody who's a little seasoned, who's been here a while, he's seen some things, he might have a greater vantage or perspective. He now sees things in 100 billion, right? Or 100 trillion. Now we start talking about dangerous numbers. trillions, quadrillion, right? It goes further than that. But right now, this is the type of money that I'm talking about. This is what gives me the excitement. This is what makes your patience feel like it's a reward. All right. So now that you'll have institutional money come in and be able to scale at these large, large numbers, now you've got an innovation acceleration. This is where banks are going to start funding and adopting blockchain infrastructure at record speed. So now, if you have a product, an idea, or a service, and let's say you build it with artificial intelligence, like we're doing inside Skyton Academy and the AI Builder Circle, you can now pose this tech, these innovations, these ideas to banks. Banks are just like governments. They are a business. What do you think they're in the business of doing? Making money. So when you create ideas and you take your ideas and you materialize them, now those ideas can easily become products that are scaled to everyone in the world, not just here domestically, because crypto and blockchain is a global phenomenon. It is a global market. And then last but not least, you then have mainstream adoption. This is the icing on the cake. So crypto is bankable. Now, it's official. Trust is no longer the issue. The access is. The Fed didn't just change the rule, they changed the playing field. Now it's open. We can create, banks can create, fintechs can create, governments can create. It's an open field. What are you going to build in it? This is the signal to the world that crypto is no longer a risk to avoid. It's now a lane that any and everybody can build in. The gates are officially open. So if people are still sitting on the sideline watching, this right here should be your call to action because institutions are here and they're moving in extremely fast. And this is not just happening here in the United States. This is happening all around the world. Every single day, I'm starting to see new innovative products and services being curated, and they're going to scale it and they're going to push this out to each and every single one of us, the users. So every single person who is here is an architect and you can build something. You can be a part of that building class and you can build something larger than yourself. I'm telling you, if you can identify a problem, you can definitely create something that is beneficial to that one person and you scale it. Now everybody has access to it. All right. So next, I want to give you guys a little update. So the Genius Act, it finally reached the House. Now, I think a dot connect or two ago, I told you guys exactly what the Genius Act was, why it was important, etc. Right? But now I just want to give you guys a brief update for everybody who's been following along. Now, the Genius Act officially landed in the House of Representatives as of June 23rd, 2025, this year. And it didn't take long for Trump to respond. So in a bold and urgent post on True Social, I'm gonna show you guys the actual post itself. Once I finish the sentence, he basically made it clear that there was to be no amendments, no delays, and to get it on his desk ASAP. That which is what you call instruction. He's not asking them to do it. He's directing them to do it. So that was more than a suggestion. That was a direct order from the president in chief. All right. So I want to show you guys exactly what this looks like. And I did make an account myself on Truth Social so that I can be able to catch these because I wasn't always on top of new drops, new releases, stuff like that. So I want to always be able to show you guys receipts so you can see it for self, right? And it doesn't always look like, hey, Champ just told me XYZ or Steve just told me XYZ, right? We got you, screenshot, you can see it. All right, so he basically said, and I quote, the Senate just passed an incredible bill that is going to make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. Nobody will do it better. It is pure genius. Emphasis on genius. That's how you know it was the Genius Act, right? Before I even went any further, that's how I was able to determine it. Boom, connected the dot. He said digital assets are the future and our nation is going to own it. We are talking about massive investment and big innovation. Again, massive investment, big innovation. What did I just tell you? It was three things to look out for. He just labeled two of them right here in your face in a quick post. And he said, hopefully the house is going to move lightning fast, pass it clean, which means no additions, no delays, no revisions, nothing. As is, it already has bipartisan support. He wants it on his desk. So he's basically giving them no directive, like hurry up, pass it through the house. Once it's done through the house, it's on my desk, and then it's signed into law. All right. So he said this is American brilliance at its best, and we're going to show the world how to win with digital assets like never before. Now, I'm telling you, this is proof that it actually hit the house, right? It was received on the 23rd at 3:19 p.m. Now that you know that it was received, it's in the building. It's already where it's supposed to be. The only thing they have to do is review it, deliberate. Once they deliberate, they vote yay or nay, and then it goes straight to Trump. All right. Let me see. This is now on the actual tracker, right? This tracker shows you anytime that there's a bill that's in place. I wanted to just add this value for you guys. So if you're ever looking for a certain bill, or if you ever hear Steve or myself talk about a bill, or they mention something in the news and you basically want to go direct to it, you want to see what's happening, what's going on, and say, all right, how can I pull this up and how can I assess where it's at? So on the formal Congress website for the US, any bill or law before it becomes law goes through it, right? So all you need to do is Google, or you pull up the Congress website, go right on at the top right, there's a search bar, type in the name of the act or the bill or the law, whatever. Genius Act will pull up, it'll tell you when it was introduced, passed Senate, passed House to President, become law. Now do you understand why Trump just told them it already passed Senate? It's now in the House, right? Now, do you see why he said, hurry up, pass it, get it on my desk ASAP with no revisions, no add ons? That's because he's the next step. So once the House finished doing what they need to do, it's going to the president and then it becomes law. All right. So that now that you guys have the backstory, you understand, what the next steps are. I'm going to tell you what happens next. If any revisions are made, the bill is basically going to go back to Senate, which is going to slow things down. That is not what he wants. He's not going for it. Trump's demand for no revisions is an attempt to skip that delay 100%. All right. So what this means for crypto and banking, the Genius Act at its core is basically a stablecoin and digital assets banking overhaul. It recognizes blockchain-based assets as legitimate financial infrastructure. This is that infrastructure word I always harp on. We always tell y'all about. This is the impact. Stable coins like USDC, RLUSD, DC, and potentially tokenized dollars will gain legal clarity, 100%. Banks are then going to be allowed and incentivized to offer crypto services, custody solutions, on-chain settlement options, payment rails that could shift from legacy SWIFT style delays, which is the system that we're currently on, to instant programmable finance. Now, I'm not a fan of anything programmable, right? So if we're talking about CBDCs, we know in the United States that's not going to fly, but around the world, that's what they mean when they say about programmable money, right? A lot of times it's central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. But again, here in the United States, we're not going for it. So when they say legacy SWIFT style systems, that means right now the fastest way you can move money from one place to another is probably putting it in a suitcase or putting it on a plane and then flying it to your destination. Because to send money from here overseas normally is going to take you 7 to 10 business days, especially if you're doing a wire, right? So that old SWIFT system, it's a one-way communication system, right? So all of that stuff is about to be over with. I need y'all to understand that the new financial system is all about speed. It's all about, Steve uses the word all the time, the velocity of money, right? How fast can money move from point A to point B without any friction? Friction is any delays. So when anytime you hear us talk about the future of finance, we're talking about the new system, the new plumbing, right? The new infrastructure that exists. And it's going to be cryptocurrency, blockchain based. It's going to run on distributed ledger technology, and it's going to encompass damn near everything of value. So when you hear companies like Ripple say they're going to institute and handle all the money, they even mean the debt. That's a nugget. All right. Last but not least, you got smaller institutions and fintechs that can now compete head to head with Wall Street. So what we're witnessing right now in our faces and in this lifetime is the formation of a dual rail economy. I'm talking about traditional finance, which is what we currently have, and then you have tokenized finance and the new future of finance side by side. This is why Trump wants speed. He knows that whoever lays down the rails for this tokenized banking first is going to control the flow of value, influence, and innovation over the next decade and beyond. So by pushing the Genius Act through and he's trying to hurry up and get this thing through the finish line, he's sending basically a clear message to the whole entire global financial system that America is going to lead in digital finance by law and not by hype, not just speculation, but by real implementation. So he's not playing no games. And right now we're standing on the edge of that new monetary policy, that new monetary system. So this bill, once it gets signed, it won't just legalize crypto infrastructure. It's going to normalize it. That means wallet-to-wallet payments, tokenized mortgages, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Stablecoin payroll. I gave you guys a gem in the crypto in 10. I went over this. Zebek, I'll just say it, on here. This is what it does. It handles payroll. People don't have to wait 2 to 3 weeks, to get paid for their services. They get paid in real time. Think about what that does. That speeds up the delay from waiting 2 weeks to getting your money in real time. And then you got blockchain secure financial records where basically that can become the new standard in banking. They already have a ledger that they view, right? Banks always have a ledger. They tell you what's coming in for deposits and what's going out with withdrawals, right? And they balance that. So every time you swipe your debit card or you tap to pay something and your balance adjusts, that's just basically the ledger doing its thing, right? That's nothing special. But when you're talking about this new financial system where everybody has that same ledger, everybody has the same visibility, we can see all the transactions. The only thing we need is a transaction ID. Now we both don't have to worry about a situation where the bank can take your money or they say you charged something at this location. Now I don't have to wait to call the bank and say, hey, what's going on? Why is my account short $5,000 or $2,000? You can see it right on the blockchain. Only thing you need is your wallet address and your transaction ID. That's going to be the new standard across the board, across the world. And the countdown has officially started. So now I'm going to walk y'all into this final piece. This is crazy. I'm going to go over this and then I'll just show you the proof so that you just don't think I'm pulling a rabbit out the hat. So crypto now counts towards home ownership. For the first time in United States history, crypto counts when you're buying a home. I'm not saying that the savvy, right, the seasoned, the people like myself who've been in this space over a decade. Steve has been here over a decade. I've seen people buy luxury watches. I've seen them buy homes. I've seen them buy boats, cars, exotic cars. I've seen them do the most, right? But now this is different. Follow me. The Federal Housing Finance Agency, or the FHFA, this is the regulator that oversees over $7 trillion in home loans through Fannie Mae and through Freddie Mac. They just issued a new directive effective immediately that changes absolutely everything. Crypto is now a valid reserve asset in mortgage risk assessments for single family homes. So let me be crystal clear. This isn't a pilot program. This isn't a test run. This is now a new federal housing policy. So who exactly is the FHFA, right? Drop a one in the chat if you guys know who this is. I'm curious, right? Right. And most of the people who drop ones in the chat, you guys are homeowners, right? You're real estate investors, etc. Right? So this is not something that you don't know, but I'm going to give you some details that's going to change how you view things. So the FHFA is basically the gatekeeper of America's mortgage system. They regulate Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the two government-backed giants that back more than 70% of the US home loans that exist right now. So whatever rules that the FHFA sets, they basically become a standard across banks, credit unions, mortgage lenders, and housing markets nationwide here in the United States. And now they've officially opened the gates to crypto-backed mortgages. Now, I'm gonna tell you why this is gonna shift your mindset. So think about it. When everybody was lining up to basically buy their first home or buy properties, etc., right? You basically had to put things on pause, right? There wasn't no additional spending. It was no car purchases. It was none of that, right? You basically had to stand still, wait until you were approved, everything was done, documents signed, you have your house, the loan is formalized, it's done, right? Now you can go out and you can splurge, you can go take your vacation, you could do XYZ, right? Typically. Now, here's why this matters. Over 7 million Americans, 7 million who apply for home loans through Fannie and Freddie every single year. This means they now can use whatever basket of cryptocurrencies they have, whatever digital asset that they have, and they could take it. But here's the caveat. It doesn't have to be cashed out whatsoever. You literally can have XRP on a cold storage wallet and say, listen, I'm going to purchase this $3 million estate, right? Or this 20-acre land, right? Using XRP. You have it right on your cold storage wallet. They'll give you an address for you to send it to. You send it. Once it's received, you can go right on the blockchain with your transaction ID, look at it, see that it was received. Both parties verify. Deal's done. Complete. This means every single crypto holder and investor who's been stacking for years, but couldn't basically use those assets in traditional real estate deals, lenders, brokers, realtors, you can now adopt and use an entirely new model for financial qualification. Now, we were basically punished for years. If you've been in this space for years, you were punished when it came to crypto. You basically had to sell your digital assets, whatever crypto you had to realize capital gains. You had to then worry about, am I going to be harassed? Am I going to have to pay 30%, 40%? The scale just kept moving, kept fluctuating. You then had to convert everything into fiat just to qualify for the home loan. Not anymore. You can basically stack all your crypto, leave it right where it's at. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, stable coins, etc. It can all be leveraged and used as collateral without selling it, without conversion to US dollars. That means no more selling to qualify, no more tax triggering events just to get approved, no more being treated like crypto is invisible. This is actual policy. This shifts, like, completely legitimizes crypto 100%. And this is now a part of the US financial system. And for the first time, this connects it directly to the quote unquote American dream of home ownership. So for all the young people who are invested in cryptocurrency, to everybody who is enrolled in YouTube University and they're catching this live right now. If you're young, you have not yet purchased your property, and you're learning about digital assets. Once you learn, once you get the foundation, you know how to basically protect your investment. All you have to do right there at this point is just sit back and you make your investments, sit back and wait. Because now you don't even have to worry about converting. You don't have to worry about doing damn near anything. They're going to give you an address, tell you when to move it. You're just going to pay the move fee, right? The move fee is however much the transaction is going to cost. If you're using something like XRP, it's damn near going to be free. This is what I'm talking about. This is why every single person should be invested in crypto right now, at this moment, because this is no more about speculation, period. This is utility. This is leverage. This is real world integration. Crypto is no longer a side hustle or a volatile asset on the fringe. Yes, there are some coins that are very volatile, right? But what I'm saying is the overarching of the space, they are now integrating this into being a part of mortgage banking systems. And if your portfolio doesn't include crypto right now, and you're just still sitting on the sideline, you're just basically waiting for things to materialize, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Because right now, everybody who's in our 1%, everybody who's already enrolled in Skyton Academy, who's been with us for a while, we've given you plays, you've seen it with your own eyes. The one variable is time. Over time, when you purchased and invested in certain digital assets, 99% of them have appreciated. They're higher, much higher than what you invested in, the price you invested in. This is what we mean by seizing opportunity. You're sitting out on the new economy if you're on the sideline. This is going to open the door for tokenized real estate lending, on-chain property registries, stablecoin escrow payments, digital asset-based home equity products. And we're not just talking about 10 years from now. This is happening right now. All right. So if you're holding crypto and you're holding a real recognized financial asset in the eyes of the US housing system, you're golden. If you're not, you have to start. It's time. If you were waiting on a sign, you were waiting on a clue, I'm it. Hello. And I'm knocking on your front door. It's time to start because the future isn't coming. It's already here and it's counting your crypto. So I'm going to show you guys something and then I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Watch this. So this is the actual FHFA directive letter. This is the decision for it. This is the actual document. Sign. Y'all can screenshot this if you want to. The replay is going to be there, and you can look this up for yourself. This is telling you right here. Cryptocurrency is an emerging asset class that may offer an opportunity to build wealth outside of the stock and bond markets. So not only did they give you the heads up, they gave you a little nugget. They kind of pushed you and was like, hey, listen, we the big dogs. We oversee Freddie and Fannie, and we telling you that crypto is it. They also told you that now they're adjusting the standards. The world is shifting. You're being shown proof with official documentation. You're welcome. Hello. This is what I do. This is what we do, right? And I'm excited, and I want y'all to feel that because when you see these type of documents, a lot of times it just goes over people's heads. They don't take the time to really stop, read them, or even understand or assess what's happening. This is why we take joy in having Connect Wednesdays. This is why we do this. Because people have to truly understand, like when these documents come out, it's more than just words on a piece of paper. There was policy, there was forethought, there was structure that happened. And it always leads back to, yo, I'm invested in cryptocurrency. I've been here for 10 years. I've been preaching the gospel of the new financial system to every single person who will listen. Each and every one of you. Somebody on the sidelines who had no clue what crypto was. And I'm giving you information, giving you wisdom, giving you tools, giving you resources. Then we gave Skyton Academy, right? I met Steve, boom. Now we formally put it in course form, right? Now y'all got tools. Y'all got two giants, two big dogs in the space who've been here who just see things completely different. You got somebody who's super highly practical. Just Steve, he not here with us today. My partner, he rocking out right now. Shout out to Steve. And then you got me. I'm the other high level guy where I like to break down big text documents and white papers and all things, right? Now I get to cheat a little bit because I still get to read them, but I get to use artificial intelligence to help me save my time. So what does that mean for y'all? Now I get to go through more white papers. I get to assess more data documents, and I can do them faster at scale and be able to boom, fire off. The gun's always loaded. I always got y'all. I'm always ready. I'm always ready for the smoke. But I want y'all to understand that these type of things are literally happening in real time. They're happening in your face. The only way you're going to miss it is if you do this. If you close your eyes to these opportunities that are happening in front of you, that's cool. That's your choice. But don't cry over spilled milk. If you ever questioned whether crypto was going to go mainstream, this call right here answered it. The train has officially left the station. But if you're not on board, you're going to miss the greatest wealth transfer of this generation, known to man, period. And I'm telling you guys, this is why Skyton Academy exists. We built this platform to help every single one of you guys understand these type of shifts, build with them, profit from them. And right now, for everybody out there in YouTube land or everybody that's on this call who is live, who is not a member of Skyton Academy, you guys can join. Your very first month is going to be $1. Yes, 4 quarters. SkytonAcademy.com. At checkout, enter 49 off YT. It's no spaces. 49 off YT all together. And after that, your next month is just $50 a month. You can stay, you can be ahead of what's coming because we got everything covered. From crypto strategy to AI jobs to digital finance mastery. Listen, this is your call to learn, rise, and lead. This is a mic drop. This is the conclusion of Dot Connect Wednesdays, episode 99. You guys be safe out there. Stay vigilant. Stay powerful. Stay dangerous. Stay tapped in with Skyton Academy. I'll see you guys on the next episode. All right? Peace.